So I just got done watching the Breakfast Club interview with Meek Mill. You know, he just got out of jail. He's working on some criminal justice reform. You know, for anybody who doesn't know, basically, long story short, when he was like 19 years old, 18, 19, something like that, he was basically bogusly arrested on a charge where the police said that he shot at them, held a gun up to them, and chased them around a car and all of this stuff. Now, let's just be clear. That's bullshit, because what black person do you know is going to get away with pointing a gun and shooting at police officers and they don't get killed? Like, are you serious? Mike Brown got killed because he's big, and because him being a big black guy is in itself a threat, so he had to go. And it was justified, right? So, what are we talking about here? If you're shooting at two police officers, they're not letting you go away. You're not walking away from that situation. That's not happening. So, the whole thing was a lie from the beginning that he was even put on. And then, second of all, if you're shooting at two police officers, you think they're just going to put you on probation? No, they're going to lock you up. So he got put on probation for 10 years. And then they kept violating his probation due to incidents that didn't even necessarily have anything to do with him. So, like, he broke up a fight in the airport, and that case got dropped in New York, but then they picked it up in Philly because there was police interaction. Popping the wheelies. We know the story. Everybody who's familiar with the whole Meek Mill situation, they knows that he got a raw deal. So with all that being said, the reason I'm bringing this up today is because, one, I want to talk about the criminal justice reform that he's trying to do. You know, he actually met with the governor of Pennsylvania, and you know, there's a package of, I guess, like 10 laws that he introduced, you know, to I don't know, you know, the state senate or, you know, the House. And so I think Meek is actually moving in the right direction. You know, he's using his misfortune, his unfortunate situation to actually create some positive change. So salute to Meek for that. The real thing that I wanted to talk about, though, is something that my man Jimmy Dore always talks about, something that my man Kyle Kalinske always talks about, something my man Tim Black always talks about, something that I try to tell my own family all the time, and that's that the mainstream news media sucks. And Meek Mill said something that was so powerful, I feel like, during the interview. And, you know, I just really wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because he sees it. And he's not even a political dude like that. Granted, again, like Jimmy Dore says, literally everything is politics. But when I say he's not a political dude, meaning he doesn't follow the intricacies of politics. But even he was able to notice this. He said while he was in prison, Fox News was on all the time, CNN was on all the time, MSNBC was on all the time, mainstream news. He said he can tell you everything about Stormy Daniels. He knows everything going on with her, but he can't tell you anything that directly impacts inner cities or anybody that's not in those elite circles. Because although Meek Mill is himself rich and he employs people, it's impossible to bring everybody with you. So you can't bring everyone that you know from your city back with you. So that means some of these people are still going to be impoverished in some way, shape, or form, even if you make it. So with all that being said, he still knows poor people. He still has to visit these people. He still has to, you know, go back to his city and in the neighborhoods and things like that. And he's bringing up the point that they're not talking about anything that directly affects regular people on the news. But he can tell you everything about Stormy Daniels. And that's what Kyle's been saying. That's what Jimmy's been saying. They've been saying that if you watch these mainstream news media outlets, you're never going to get real news. You're never going to be truly informed. There's been studies that show that Fox News viewers actually are less informed than people who don't watch any news. So mainstream news media is failing you. This is why independent media is so important. I don't do this for any money, obviously, because you see the view numbers. Like, this is basically just for anybody who just happens to come across it and, you know, is interested in what I have to say, or they want to argue back and forth, or whatever the case is. That's fine. But real news outlets that give good information, such as the Jimmy Dore Show, the Tim Black Show, Secular Talk, the Kyle Kowinski Show, the Humanist Report, Rational National, Jamarl Thomas. There's a lot of dudes out there who are giving you real news, and they're being shut down, or not shut down necessarily, but they're being pushed down. They're being pushed into the background by, YouTube itself. The mainstream media is, they've been paying they've been telling advertisers basically, hey, your content's getting on these extremist channels, and, so they've actually been swaying advertisers to leave YouTube and everything, so it's a financial thing. Like, the whole situation's crazy. I'm not doing this for money, I'm doing this purely just to inform, and, hopefully I can teach somebody. If there's only 30 people that watch the video, hopefully 10 of y'all learn something that you didn't know. That's my whole goal with doing this, but these are the type of channels that you need to support. Mainly the ones that I named, because those are the ones they put out content every day. That's what they do for a living. This isn't what I do for a living. This is just something I'm passionate about, but those outlets, make sure you support those on their Patreons, on their you can become members of a lot of their, shows and stuff like that, get extra content, things like that. But those are the things that you need to support, because as Meek Mill said, he learned nothing about what was going on in real America the whole time he was locked up, but he knew all the sensationalist bullshit, basically. That's what he's saying. And this is what everyone who I watch, this is our main complaint of mainstream media. This is why we don't like Rachel Maddow anymore, because all you talk about is Russia. You're not talking about anything that affects day-to-day life. You see what I'm saying? Chris Hedges, same thing. Or Chris Hayes, whatever your name is. You know what I mean? Like, all of you, everyone on TV, basically. Very small exceptions, like, here and there. But for the most part, you're terrible. And Meek said it. Check out his Breakfast Club interview if you haven't already. It's a really, really good interview. It's very informative. He seems like he's in a very positive place now. So salute to Meek Mill. Like, share, subscribe to the Midwest Coast podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as SoundCloud. You can find all of our old episodes on this channel, Midwest Coast Politics. Like us on Facebook. Again, happy Meek is home. Let's see if he can get this, different criminal justice things pushed through in Pennsylvania, and let's see if we can get the ball rolling, and maybe it'll affect other places in the country too. You never know. But keep our fingers crossed.